I'm proud to introduce to you a man that is not only my dear friend. I've had the zechut and the blessing for me and him to call each other true buddies. We don't get that all the time with rabbis. Rabbi Shlomo Farhi is an incredibly fascinating man with a giant heart, and he knows how to capture young and old alike, men and women equally. He is the rabbi of the Edmund Safra Synagogue on 63rd Street for the last 5 or 6 years. He is doing probably the most incredible job that any rabbi could do to acquire the minds and the body and souls of all the congregants in the city. They don't come because they're told to. They don't come because they're forced to. They come in droves and fill up the synagogue 7 days a week because they want to. That's both men and women, young and old alike. It gives me great pleasure to introduce you all to our keynote speaker tonight. Thank God we brought him from London, England, and his wife agreed to come back to America to teach Torah and to make us a better community. I think he makes the world a better place. Rabbi Shlomo Farhi, I'm honored to have you come up as our keynote speaker tonight on behalf of Hatzolah.
Thank you, Harry. I just want to start by saying Hazaku Baruch. Cheryl and Sola Mizrahi, Hazaku Baruch for doing this, for opening up your home to this incredibly important organization, doing literally God's work and saving lives around the world. Hashem should bless your family with health, with success, with parnasah, with all the brachot that God has in his heavenly arsenal for what you are doing tonight, because what you are doing tonight will echo and reverberate throughout many, 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 many generations of people whose lives will be saved because of what we're here to do tonight. I also want to thank Eli Kreindler for bringing me here, for reaching out, for arranging this, for the hours that we spent on the phone. I want to thank Eli Rowe as well, who is literally an angel disguised as a man. It's a very special... Your business is important to us. Please stay on the line, and someone will be with you shortly. You got it, no worries. So thank you, Eli Rowe. You are a hero to Am Yisrael. The Torah teaches us tzedakah tatzil mimavet, that charity saves from death. This idea means that a person who gives charity is blessed with an insurance policy where God saves them literally from death. And the Gemara actually gives an example of how real this idea is. Charity saves from death. Shabbat, page 156, Amud Bet. Umid Rabbi Akiva, and we learn this also from Rabbi Akiva. Havia Labarta, he had a daughter, and he was told by the astrologers of the time that the day of his daughter's wedding would be the day of her death, Bar Minan. Says the Gemara, he was so bothered. Rabbi Akiva was plagued by this news. A mixture of both happiness and fear combined and coalesced on the day of his daughter's wedding. He knows that this is the happiest day of her life, but he's also been told time and time again that this is the day that she dies. The Gemara tells us, Hahu Yama, that day, she got into bed that night and she took off her golden hairpin from her beautiful tresses, from the magnificent hair that she had done up for the wedding. And as she went to bed, she stuck it in between the bricks and the stones in the wall. She wakes up in the morning And what happens as she pulls it out of the wall, says the Gemara, a snake comes out of the wall, impaled on her golden pin. She pulls the snake out of the wall on the pin. She shows it to her father, that prophecy that had been given to him, that they'd said to him time and time again would take place. That disaster is averted. And she shows it to her father, and her father says, Amala Vua. And I could just imagine the scene. He's cupping his daughter's face in his hands, and he says to his daughter, Maya Avidit, what did you do to deserve this salvation? Amrale, she said to him, Bipanya Atya Anya. Last night, amidst the wedding celebrations, a poor man came and he was starving. And he knocked at the door of the wedding. With the noise of the music and the cacophony of sounds that were taking place, says the Gemara, everyone was busy. Havitridi kuli alma, the whole world was taken up besudata in the wedding. Veleka de sham'eh, and there was no one who heard his knock. Ka'amina, the bride, Rabbi Akiva's daughter, said to myself, I heard, I got up, shakalte l'nistanai, I took my meal, Daddy, that you brought for me to eat as the bride on her wedding night. And I gave it to him. Dihabetni, yahifteni le, I gave it to him. Amma la, Rabbi Akiva said to her, mitzvah avart, you did a tremendous mitzvah. Rabbi Akiva walked out of this conversation, walked right into the synagogue, gives a big bang on the bimah, and he says, ladies and gentlemen, I have a speech to give, and the greatest rabbi that ever lived in the Jewish people, Rabbi Akiva, stands up, and he starts his dirasha with the words that I just started. Perhaps that's the only similarity between Rabbi Akiva and myself. That we both began a dirasha with the words, Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Tzedakah saves from death. But my friends, there are some needs that don't get heard by anyone. No matter how hard you knock, there's no one who is hearing you. No insurance, no hospital dreams of what we are witnessing tonight. No health coverage, no matter what premium you pay, is willing to give you what this organization is willing to give you for free. There are certain knocks that don't get heard by anyone because it's too big a job, it's too expensive, it's too complicated. So the knock comes and no one answers the call. My friends, in the time of Mashiach, God promises us, I will carry you on the wings of eagles, and I will bring you to me. My friends, that does not only refer to the coming of a national Messiah, when Am Yisrael goes back to Eretz Yisrael and rebuilds the Beit HaMikdash, but everyone who is looking for their personal Mashiach, for their salvation, God says, I will carry you on the wings of eagles. And today we are fulfilling that prophecy from God, hearing that knock and raising ourselves on the wings of eagles to be able to take people to heavenly salvation. Rashi tells us, why is it compared to the wings of eagles? And Rashi says, because there's a difference between an eagle and every other bird. Every other bird has no natural enemy coming at it right from below. It's from above. So where does a bird keep its young? In its hands, in its claws, because it's worried about birds of prey descending on it from above. But an eagle, it flies the highest of all birds. So there is no natural predator from above. So it does not put its young in its claws, but rather al kanfei nisharim, on its wings. The only enemy of an eagle with no natural predators in the ecological circle of life is from a human hunter. And the eagle, by putting its young on its back, flying it in the air, says, Mutav sheikanes hachetz bi. Better that the arrow should penetrate me than it should penetrate my kids. The eagle recognizes that when you love someone, you put it on your back and you raise it to the very heavens. My friends, we live in an unbelievable time. We have unbelievable access to medical care. We have fantastic organizations that provide everything that you can imagine. Insurance companies that will pay for the most sophisticated operations. But sometimes the threat comes to someone from an unexpected place where there was nothing that you could do to protect yourself. It comes not from a cure. We don't have a problem with a cure. We don't have a problem with a transplant. We don't have a problem with a hospital. We have two enemies in those critical moments: space and time. Today, our community does not only live in Brooklyn, Deal, and the city. Today, huge numbers of our community find themselves in Pesach programs all around the world. They find themselves for yeshiva break in cities around the world. And if we are spending more and more time away, all the organizations that we invest so heavily in, that take care of us right here, in this place, suddenly become a distant help that you cannot reach. Hatzolah air brings you back to that warm embrace, brings you back to what you need in that time. We defy gravity to deliver miracles. We are a modern day angel, Raphael, flying through the sky, bringing HaKadosh Baruch Hu's chesed in this moment. Every person who gets sick, my friends, the words of Tehillim chants from around the world reign supreme. Remember, Harry, I remember in my own life when the Tehillim chants and the Tehillim are soaring to the heavens, when the words of Torah classes are echoing throughout the world. But in my mind, in the heavens, I hear a beautiful melody, a harmony of those tefillot connecting with the sound, the roar of a Hatzolah air engine as it brings the person its destiny. It brings the person that tremendous gift. But this, my friends, is not only about this gift of flying in the air, because I know that many of you are thinking, is this great thing, which is so expensive, isn't it a luxury? That's a question everybody wants to know. Let me talk to the elephant in the room. My friends, that elephant needs to be addressed, because our Gemara does not believe in that. Our halakha teaches, Kol hamatzil nefesh achat miYisrael, you save a life, one. It's as if you saved the universe entire. Every takeoff is a triumph of human compassion. Every landing is a testament to Am Yisrael's care, their chanun, their rachum, where we emulate every one of God's 13 aspects of compassion. It's a proclamation when a plane takes off fueled by your dollars, that we believe that there's no distance far enough, there's no boundary or border when it comes to caring for another Jewish person. My friends, private jets, luxuries. Super important celebrities, A-list stars. I agree with you. But my friends, when it's your wife, husband, son, daughter, when it's your grandpa or grandma who needs to be saved from wherever the heck they are they not the most important person in your life? Are they not an A-list celebrity? At that moment, would you say that that's too expensive or a price not worth paying? You know what, my friends? We have to make sure right now that if we want that service available when we need it, because at that moment, trust me, it's worth anything. You'll sell it all. You'll set fire to everything you own to be able to get that help, that success, that you need. And my friends, it can't be done at that moment. Because you know what? It's not about private jets or helicopters. It's not about speed or altitude. It's about the lives that get saved, the stories that we rewrite, the futures that we preserve for countless patients and their families. And I want you to picture this. You're at a chuppah. We all go. You see a father, a mother, a daughter walking down the aisle. It's beautiful. They're crying. The joy is unbelievable. You're looking at this, and don't we all cry along with the dad as he gives his daughter a blessing before he lets this young man take his daughter the last 20 feet down the aisle. My friends, I want you to blink and see that same scene, but without the father standing there next to his daughter. It's the same beautiful night. You're in the same hall, but now it's marked by a sadness, by what could have been. Blink again, and he's back. Yeshuat Hashem, says the Gemara, says the Pasuk, the salvation of God comes keheref ayin, in the blink of an eye. And we can write or rewrite that story whichever way we want tonight with your help here. For those of you that are already supporting, I just want to say thank you for the lives you already helped save. For the child that received a new heart in the nick of time. For a brave grandmother who defeated cancer thanks to the swift treatment. To the person in this community flown to another country when she could not receive the platelets that she needed to survive. We were all praying, but without the roar of the engines, where would she be? My friends, even the mightiest jets needs fuel to soar, and that's where you come in. We don't want only your money. Tonight we want you to partner with us. We want to make you co-pilots on this life-saving mission. We want you to soar with us to a future where the father stands next to the daughter, where that grandmother is in the picture. And I'd like to end by saying this. My grandfather, he was married to my grandma, and she passed away when I was very young. He remarried my step-grandma, my grandma Anita, and we all loved her very much. She had a wicked sense of humor. I still remember as a young kid she would say, come here, whoa, is that a monkey? Like, you know what I mean? Stand next to me. Have you had a bed? Stand over there. She had a beautiful sense of humor. She was so special. She also talked like this, so she sounded a little bit Jones Riversy. She was very funny. She had a great heart. We loved her very much. And then they went on a cruise. And out in the middle of nowhere, in a tiny place, down next to some shore of some God-forsaken place, she was infected by a flesh-eating bacteria. They took her off the ship, got her to some hospital that barely had Band-Aids, and she passed away. And tonight I'm thinking to myself, what if, at that moment in time, Hatzolah air actually existed? Maybe she'd be here tonight telling her story. Well, my friends, that's not an empty threat for Hatzolah air to stay in existence. Every single one of you, and everyone that's going to watch this video, we need you. This is not a cheap endeavor, but it is one that is absolutely necessary. So tonight, like Rabbi Akiva's daughter, let's answer the call. Let's answer the knock so that when, God forbid, we have a call to make, there is someone to answer ours. Thank you.